Warning, MF Uncensored contains adult language and discussion. Listener discretion is advised.
We're a couple of misfits. We're a couple of misfits. What's the matter with misfits? That's where we fit in. We're not Duffy and Dilly. Don't go around willy-nilly. Seems to us that it's...
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MF Uncensored. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you guys get a podcast. You can also find more of our content at our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you'll find links to not only this show, but some of our other shows, the Multiverse Fancast and Cinematic Adventures. You'll also find links to Rob's reviews, my articles, and our brand new Misfit Faction store where we have new items every couple of months. So make sure if you guys are looking to get a little Misfit swag, that's the place to go. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul, and doing the intro for you guys today. We have a great episode planned for you guys. So before we do that, though, don't forget, if you guys are looking to start your very own podcast, maybe you guys have been listening to us for the past couple of months, maybe you guys have always wanted to do one, but you're not sure where to start, how to begin, and anything along those lines, if you guys use our link, which is podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys can get a month of podcasting on us. That is a special gift from us to you guys, our listeners, who we love so much and we're so grateful and appreciative for. And if you guys are looking to start your own show, let us know. We're always looking for brand new content on our website, on our network. So if you guys are looking to do podcasting, get in touch with us, let us know, and we will get you guys started and help you guys out however we can. Or maybe you have your own business or online service. Guys, podcasts are everywhere. There are literally millions of them. And if you guys are looking to get your brand or your product or service out there, go to sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction to get $100 worth of free advertising, not just on this podcast, but on podcasts all over the world. Now, we also have to thank our sponsor for today's episode, Raise Energy by Rep Sports. Guys, I am one of those people that when 3 o'clock rolls around, I do not want to do anything besides take a nap or go to bed. But with the help of our good friends over there at Raise Energy, I am able to get through those afternoon slumps and those afternoon workouts. So if you guys go to repsports.com and use the code MISFIT89 at checkout, you guys will get 10% off of your order. And it's not just energy drinks. There's also protein supplements, testosterone supplements, clothing, all sorts of cool stuff. So make sure you guys check that out. That's RepSports, REPP Sports.com, and that's Raise Energy. Now, on today's episode, we have from Waking Up with KC, Miss Kimberly Chapman. Kimberly was fantastic. She has an awesome show that she got to share with us. She has a very unique life experience and a very awesome outlook just on general things. So make sure you guys check out her show, Waking Up with KC. And we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are talking to Kimberly Chapman. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MF Uncensored. If you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you get your podcasts. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul, and with me in the Zoom studio, because that's how we do podcasts nowadays, we have fellow podcaster, transformational coach, lifestylist, all sorts of things, like a jack of all trades about making people better, basically, Miss Kimberly Chapman. Kimberly, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. I know we've been trying to get this done for a couple of weeks now, it feels like. I think I emailed you back in December-ish, maybe? I don't even know.
Yeah, it was crazy because I was trying to wrap up my third season, get ready for the holidays, and then work behind the scenes to get ready for my fourth season, which I'm launching March 7th.
That's crazy. So, and that's for your podcast, correct?
It's podcast and a virtual talk show.
I
have both.
See, that's even cooler because, like, you and I were just talking off air, and we were talking about podcasting and how meticulous and how, demanding podcasting is. For us here at our network, podcasting started off as a hobby, like something for us to do with each other and spend time with each other, because as you get older, it's harder and harder to find time to hang out with your friends. And now suddenly it's a 3-day process for a single episode, it feels like sometimes.
Oh my gosh. I have my show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I expanded it when I was going into my third season because I try to get better.
Right.
That's my whole thing is, what can I do better next season?
Mm-hmm. So how long? Yeah, go ahead.
And it's like between 45, 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it goes over. It all depends on who I have on my show and the conversations we're having.
Exactly. Like if a lot of people, you can watch any interview, and any interview can be a very meticulous set of questions, like how did you start? Why do you like, and just almost robotic. But when you're having just a genuine conversation with somebody, you learn so much about them.
Oh, yes.
You know.
I had DC Glenn from Tag Team and Geico commercial. I got so much more information. He's so informative. And it was like I was having an educational lecture because he goes through what he learned in his life experiences and how to reinvent himself. And he's still doing it.
And that's awesome too. Like people think that when you get to a certain point in life, you have it figured out. Nobody has it figured out, and nobody, like, you can always be better. Like so many people just live a life of complacency, and it's sad almost, everybody's just kind of, well, this is how life is, I guess, and I'll just live it. It's nice to, you got it, hit me.
But that's a program.
Mm-hmm.
You get comfortable being in the mediocre,
Right?
but you sit there and bitch and complain. I have wonderful mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And Oprah Winfrey's one of them. And she had a saying from a book that she read: you are the master to your destiny and the captain to your soul.
I like that. I've never heard that before. Wow.
And I was like, damn, I am the master of my own destiny. I'm the captain to my own soul. Oh, I don't like where the sales are going this way, so I'm going to change them to go that way.
Exactly. Like it's like you said, a lot of people, it's almost they're comfortable, right? They're comfortable. Like life is what it is. People, and you can talk hours and hours to those people, and they just won't get it, and they just won't wake up. Yeah, it's frustrating. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about your show and how you got started and what your basic episode kind of looks like?
Well, to be honest, I have been through and overcame many variety of abuses.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to a point in my life that, my second marriage was abusive. And I was at a point where I went outside and I started venting.
Okay.
I was in the religion, no more.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, you know what? I'm done with this bullshit. If this is all there is to life, then check me out. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And I even had kids, but I was so at that point that I was just so fed up with life. And I honestly said, like, if this is it, I don't want to be here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, you know what? You show me the fucking truth. I mean, I'm talking out to the universe, and, if there was a God, I believe now there's an essence, a divine source, a greater intelligence that we have a deep connection with. It's a part of us.
I'm going to circle back to that with you because it's funny you say that. But yeah, please keep going. I'm loving your story.
So I'm like, however, if the grass is greener on the other side from where I'm standing, then you show me the fucking truth. And I was done. And then all of a sudden I felt something. And then I just let it go. I'm like, okay, you vented. That's good. Let it out. And then it's like, okay, I have to go pick up the kids now. Let me go and do my thing kind of thing. And then I just sat there and started asking the question. I asked that question, and then this person showed up. Like, it was Dr. Joe Vitelli.
Okay. Not familiar.
I can't remember what the book was, honestly. Then there was Tony Robbins.
I actually got to see Tony Robbins in person. He is incredible.
I bet I was listening to, I think it was cassette tapes.
Oh, yep. I used to have a fair amount of the Tony Robbins.
I think it was getting into CDs. They were getting out of the tape cassettes. And then like other things started showing. And then I was like, wow. Okay. All right. And then it just like, I get an answer. And then with that answer, I'd ask another question.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like the answer would show up in the weirdest and craziest ways. And that's how my journey started. And then I started experiencing the spiritual stuff. And I know it's spiritual stuff because I've experienced it. We have a conceptual knowledge and knowing of certain things we, know about, but how can we even really understand it unless we experience it ourselves?
Exactly. Like it's very easy. Like I can tell you this is how you should think, but until you actually experience something, it's like people who diet, right? I could tell anyone, hey, if you diet like this and go to the gym, you're gonna be ripped. Until they actually go to the gym and start doing it, they're never gonna be in a physical shape that they want to be. And it's the same thing with anything. Like if you want to have that moment of realization or that feeling of realization, you have to have experiences that make you more susceptible to them.
Well, not only that, but then I look at, there was something I read, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He talked about the poor teach the poor to be poor, the middle class teach the middle class to be middle class, and rich teach the rich to be rich. Which
Right.
category are you in?
Mm-hmm.
Or were you brought up in? I was like, oh shit. I think we were poor. I don't know if we were middle class, but it's got to be one of those two things. I don't want to be that way.
Right.
So I had to ask myself, so how do I become rich then? I have to learn from the rich. I have to learn from the people that are successful because I didn't have access to that.
Mm-hmm.
I was taught a limited belief in a program, go to school, get good grades, get a good job. But that doesn't apply. And you really don't. All you're doing when you go get a traditional education is a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
But self-education will make you a fortune.
Yeah.
The education system is set up to be an employee. Think about it.
Yeah, it's funny because like I'm involved with the educational system. Not that I'm not a teacher or anything, but I do have a level of involvement with kids. And it's only been more recently that people like kids are like, I don't really want to go to college. Like I want to do this. And I'll be the first one to be like, go do that. Like the world is changing and the world's finally catching up to that idea of like, if you want to go to law school and be a lawyer and do that, cool. All the more power to you. If that's what you want to do. Like I had the choice to go to law school and I was like, I don't want to go to law school. Like people ask me, what are you going to do after college? I was like, I don't want to go to law school.
Well, because it's a program and then you wonder why people are miserable, unhappy, because they're doing something that they're really not passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
They stuck with the program of having to go to school, get a good job, get a job that makes you good money.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not being your true authentic self.
Yeah. I mean,
and going through that and then, going through my divorce, then having to become a single mom again. And then, every experience that I've been through. And then just, let's see, a couple of years ago, during the pandemic, I went back to school to brush up my skills in film because I loved film editing. It's just something that I'm so fascinated. That's a key right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's your soul telling you this is a key, a piece to the masterpiece about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it lights you up.
And it's funny you say that because like I literally just finished my shift at work and I was exhausted. Like I came home and I was like, told my wife, I was like, man, I'm tired. I really don't want to do anything. Like I just don't feel. But as soon as I came downstairs, turned on the podcast stuff, I was like, well, I'm good to go. Let's do this. I'm psyched because podcasting is what makes me happy. And I hope that one day it is my full-time job and my full-time career. Unfortunately, it's not paying the bills right now. As any podcaster knows, it's not always the fastest route, but it's...
Let me tell you something. I started my podcast on October 15th, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in February 2022. The key to it is when you're doing something that you love, you got to be consistent and persistent. Not do it for the money. Do it because I found a platform where I can use my voice and help people. My talk show is something that really a lot of people aren't doing. I try to coach people by bringing people on, but I'm with that person having an experience, and I want to know about what made them tick, what happened in their life, how did they transform their life, how did they, how are they reinventing themselves,
Right.
to put a positive, vibe to where people start thinking outside the box.
So
And I'm looking forward to more fascinating guests, because I'm all about the history, the science, the spirituality. They go in tangent together.
exactly.
Our limited beliefs, mental programming, and I'll even go deeper, emotional, energetic traumas that people aren't aware of. And that's where I come in and I'm like, what if, bum, 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 get to the root of the problem, you won't have the problem anymore.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that the world is finally starting to catch up with a little bit. Like, 15, 20 years ago, especially men would not go to therapy. They would not talk to people. They would not face their own traumas, rub some salt in it, walk it off, all those things. Men and women were taught to suppress their traumas and suppress their emotions and just deal with it and keep trudging on. And it's only in more recent years that people are way more accepting that people have a lot of history and a lot of stories to them that they don't even realize could be debilitating and holding them back. I know you keep saying limiting beliefs, and I love that phrase because I like limiting beliefs because it doesn't make it seem like it's unbreakable, right? If I were to say you have an unbreakable belief you can't ever change, that'd be really disheartening. But a limiting belief is something that I can overcome and then do better with.
Oh, there is a connection with all three of them, even the emotional, energetic traumas. Some of it goes even into the womb. Think about that. You were in your mother's womb. What was your mother experiencing that you also experienced yourself, but you have no idea? Abusive relationship, marriage, all that. Stress, all of that.
Yeah.
And then she was in her mother. So it just carried over. Then you look at the time periods in the ears all the way back to our origins. There's some misconceptions of our origins as well. That's how far back in history I go.
Oh, wow.
And if people like when you're seeking the truth, it shows up. You might not like how it shows up, but it's truth.
And it's interesting because
it has to resonate with you too. Like when I hear truth, I feel truth. And being an intuitive transmedium, I'm an emotional intuitive transmedium, so I feel a lot. So I have to be on like a researcher and an investigator in what I'm experiencing, what I'm feeling, what's going on around me, and be the observer too.
And it's interesting because I always think that the universe is always giving us signs one way or another. Perfect example. My wife and I, before we met, before we started dating, before any of that, we crossed paths dozens of times and we had no idea whatsoever. We were at the same comedy show like a month before we met and had no idea. Like I did her niece's birthday party years ago when I worked at a birthday party place. Like all these times where the universe was just kind of teeing us up to be together, and we just weren't ready. We weren't ready. And then finally the moment came where we connected, and now we have a loving and beautiful marriage. But we laugh. We're like the universe was waiting for its moment for us to be ready for the gift that we were getting. And she's very similar. She's very intuitive. She's very, very empathetic. When something's not right, she's the first one to feel it, and just it resonates with her in such a powerful way. And I find it interesting that you mentioned religion. And we've had plenty of people on the show that from all sorts of religious backgrounds. I was raised one way, my wife was raised another, and now we firmly believe in the universe. And I'll be the first one. If there's a God and he's, when I leave this mortal world and he's like, hey, I'm God, I'll be like, all right, there we are. But it's open to interpretation, and it's open to how you see the universe.
Well, we're all part of it. We are all gods and goddesses. We're spiritual divine beings, sexual beings inside of a human being. We've been around for thousands of years. The soul never dies. The spirit never dies.
I like that. That it's reassuring. It's powerful. It's true. You know, and like I said, if people want to believe certain things, cool. Whatever makes you feel, passionate. Whatever makes you feel, part of this universe or reassured. That's cool, man. Like enjoy your life, but at the end of the day, it's just about being honest with yourself, being honest with your universe, and really resonating with the things that light that fire. So many people have no fire. They, you see it, people just sitting in traffic all day with their coffee and just miserable. Like, I love finding things that get me fired up. I like finding things that I can't do because I like to learn.
I have another mentor, Dr. Joe Dispenza. People create through their thoughts, how they feel, and what they do. They create a mood, then the mood turns into a personality. Then you create your own reality. And people are stuck in that same reality because of their thoughts, the way they feel, what they continue to do. You change the biochemistry in your body by staying. Your body starts knowing you better than your mind does. And when you try to change it, it is hard because you programmed yourself to be that way. But let me tell you something. When you get past it, the freedom, oof.
I like that though. Like the idea, we're all kind of held down by anything. Like limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs can be anything at this point, like in the world. And we're all held down by something. And the idea of being able to break free and to break those chains is just empowering. And I think more people need to understand that you can do all these things. You can do amazing things if you just find the right passion.
You have the power.
Exactly.
You have the power. It's in you. The truth is in you. The power is in you. You got it. And a lot of people give their power away or they abuse their power. And the most empowering words that I've ever heard was from Dr. Wayne Dwyer. You can choose to be a host of God or the ego. It's your call.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Or the hostage to your ego. There you go.
There it is.
The host of God or a hostage to your ego. It's your call. It's your choice.
And that's the most important thing. We all have choice. We all have the ability to choose how we're going to live our life, how we're going to go about, how we interact with people. The people that are the most miserable aren't just miserable at work. They're miserable when they go home. They're miserable when they're, by themselves.
Miserable, but they choose to be. My question is, if everybody now, hate is taught, fear is taught, racism is taught. It's taught by mankind. But if it wasn't taught, if any of those things were not taught, what would happen? We'd probably get along.
It's a fair bet. Look at everything that's happening in the world right now. You can't turn on the news without seeing just all the bad in the world.
I can't watch the news. I limit myself. I just get grips and pieces, and then I'm like, boop, okay.
I check the weather.
Put it away.
I look for
more negativity. It's a program to keep you in that fear. You don't have to know everything. Just touch base. Read Wall Street Journal, New York Times. People are so glued because you're seeing and recording in your subconscious. It's going into your subconscious and you're programming your subconscious that the world is going to hell in basket. No, we are creating it collectively until we change our thoughts.
So,
and it's slower than molasses. This whole new shifting of the energy and people waking up slower than molasses.
So how do you? What was that?
I said, but we're getting there. We're slower than molasses.
Very, very slowly. Again, it's like we were saying, things are changing. The collective consciousness is changing. People are changing. We're going to see a lot of interesting and new ways of thinking over the next couple of years. That's just my personal opinion. But for you, when you find yourself though kind of getting stuck in those negative thoughts, those negative moments, what are some things that you do to cope? Like, we have plenty of listeners that deal with anxiety and deal with depression and deal with all these things. What are some, like, meditations or positive affirmations? What are some things that you
I listen to Dr. Wayne Dwyer in the morning because I love his voice. There's 2 videos that I just listen to. I go outside and I'm just like, honestly, let me rewind. Right before, like when I'm getting into the waking up phase, because I hear the alarm, coffee's being made, and I'm like, oh, it's another day. I'm here. And then I'm like, thank you. This bed was so cozy. I got to sleep in a cozy bed. Thank you. And then I get up, get my coffee. I go outside, I have a cigarette and listen to Wayne. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I am God. Wow, I'm connected to all of this. And I'm just looking at nature, the beauty, the earth, connecting to the earth, energy wise, frequency wise. I'm bringing and expanding love, feeling it, expressing it in gratitude to start my day.
I like that though. You know, a lot of positive affirmations, a lot of I am this, I am that. You know, so many people when they wake up, the things they focus on, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. Oh, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do this.
Well, they're living in the past. So if you want things to shift, you got to start inwards. Feeling is the language to the soul. Feeling is the language to the universe. Hello, we're vibration frequencies too.
So what would you say to the people that don't feel that way, that literally those negative Nancys? Because I'm sure you deal with them and people are like, well, I can't just change everything. What do you say to people like that?
One step at a time, one thought at a time. That's all it takes. One thought, attach a thought. And then I say, okay, tell me, what is the one thing that you can think of right now that happened that felt amazing? What is it?
For me, the one thing I can think of, my wife and I had our wedding reception recently, and it's just still right there in my head, that beautiful moment between the 2 of us, because we didn't think it was coming.
But how did you feel? Go back in time right now. Think about that thought, the feeling, the emotion, the energy that you created. Your body remembers it. It records it. So every time you think about it, it's how you feel. So if you can wake up, negative Nancy, if you could just wake up and think of something that you experienced that gave you great joy, pleasure, it was good, didn't harm anybody or anything. It was just, you had that experience. You start changing the DNA. Your body chemistry starts to change a little bit at a time. But if you constantly remember that good thing, it does change.
Right.
And then when you start realizing that, connecting to that, then other good things start coming to you little by little. It's a process. It's not like going to a McDonald's drive-thru and bam, here you go.
And unfortunately, that's the problem with a lot of people today. They want that instant, that quick fix.
That's a program.
You know, look at kids with their cell phones, right? If a kid does not have their cell phone or if it doesn't work for more than 5 minutes, they lose their shit. They have no clue. Adults are getting like that too, though, where if something's not working the right way at the right time, I'm unhappy.
And that's sad.
It is. It really is. You know, there's so many times that people are focused on all these other things. I like to focus on the now. Like, what am I doing right now? So here's an example. Right now, I am enjoying a podcast session with you. Even though after this, I have to go work for another 12 hours for another shift that I picked up because I'm silly like that. But you know, in my mind, I could easily be going and you would sense that just talking to me. Like, you and I don't know each other. We've corresponded via email.
this is our first time like actually talking, but I know that if I just by talking to you for the last 30-ish minutes, I know that if I was sitting here and I was talking like this and I was looking at you like this, you would immediately pick up on it and you would immediately be like, there's something wrong with this guy's energy. I'm not going to resonate with it. I'm not going to enjoy it. And we're not going to have a good conversation.
Right.
And I think it's a powerful ability, and people can always tell when you're not being genuine, when you're not being real. I always tell people what's going on with me. Like, but at the same time, I enjoy being in the moment and I enjoy what I do. And I think that if more people enjoyed what they did, the world would just be a better place.
Oh, yeah.
So speaking of what we do, tell me a little bit more about your podcast. I know we're all over the place. I love it. This is hilarious. I like conversations that you can't keep track of where they're going because a word is said or
in my podcast and in my virtual talk show.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it began. And this is what I talk about on my show. So we're getting to wrapping it up, I know. But yeah, and ever since then it's been get-go. I finished my 100th episode.
Congratulations.
December 31st.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, perfect. Look at that timing. Did you plan that timing or?
I sort of wait a minute. I got to get ready for my fourth season, but I need a break because I've been get-go from October 2020 to all the way to December 31st. So I'm I have to revamp. I have to reorganize and regroup and create I wanted to create a whole new look, which I have. I finally I got my brand, I feel.
All right.
This is my logo. This is my brand. And it's a beautiful sunrise. Mm-hmm. That's my favorite. And I live in South Florida. So I'm just sunrise. I love the sunrise. Or it could be a sunset, whatever whatever floats your Twinkie. But it's a beautiful scene. And to me, it's wake up to new concepts, wake up to new perspectives, wake up to a new chapter, wake up to realization that you can change your life.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I love that. It's funny you mentioned branding and logos. So my wife, she has a book page on Instagram. That's her thing. She does book reviews. She talks books. She does a little bit of self-help. And then I do my podcast stuff. And we're all part of the same network, us and our friends. She is still constantly revamping her logo because she's I think it could just be a little bit better and a little bit more and a little bit more powerful. Then there's us who created one logo and we're we're good, I think.
Well, I've changed my logo a few times already because I just want to, I'm going to try this out and see if it works. And then I'm you know what? Every new season, I'll just vamp it up just a little. But now that I found that one logo and it matches my website that I just created, I'm going to keep that. But I'm doing my openers a little better and better. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at right now.
That's awesome. So, I looked at your website. You have a lot of great stuff on there. I still have it up right now. You also have a YouTube channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all your shows, all your talk shows go straight to that, correct?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I am looking at your sunset, right? It is very nice. I'm a little cheater because I always try and do research on my people. And obviously I looked you up. I looked up your website. And now I got it up just in case because I love seeing people's creativity and things like podcasts, websites. They're a little piece of the person. And the fact that this sunset that's it's literally on your opening page. So if you go to for all of our listeners, if you go to wakeupwithkc.com, it's literally this beautiful just sunrise as soon as you hit it or sunset. I don't care. You can look at it however you want at this point, but it's really nice. And it's very comforting. And the fact that now I know the story behind it makes it even better. Mm-hmm. Because there's always a story and there's always stories to be told. And it's like you said, you don't ever know what's going on with someone, where somebody's coming from. And that's one of the best things about this show is I get to learn about people. And I love learning about people. I love hearing stories. And that's what this show is really all about. So we're getting close to our wrap-up time because I try and keep it quick and painless for everybody who has to suffer through my terrible interviewing skills. And my last question... Oh, thank you. I got a book and everything. No, my wife did. In all honesty, my wife did get me a book. She's gotten me a couple of podcasting books, and never as a slight, you need this book because you're terrible. It's always as a helpful thing. Hey, I think you'd really like this book. And she got me an interviewing for Christmas, which has been just hilarious because it's been a lot of fun. Because my first interview was very all right, I'm going to write out all these questions. I'm going to make sure I ask this one. And ever since I just started flowing with it, the whole show just kind of changed and the energy matches it, I think. So,
Just be you.
what was that?
Just be you.
I think that's the best advice that you can give anyone.
And if you don't like you, change it.
Mm-hmm.
Because what would that new you look like? What would that new you be doing? What would that new you feel? You changing.
I think visualization is a lost art because a lot of people think of the things that they don't have and that's what they visualize. Well, I want more money, so I visualize all this money and I like visualizing who I'm going to be.
Yes, but see, here's the thing that you just stated, that the universe will respond like, okay, you want more money. Well, you're going to want more money then.
Mm-hmm.
Our words are very powerful. I want or I need anymore. That's not in my vocabulary.
So what?
I would like to experience having whatever the amount of money is in my checking account, or, arrive in my mailbox, or to receive it. I don't care how. I would just like to experience it.
Mm-hmm. I think the way that you
I would feel amazing to have that just show up. Surprise me, universe. I love surprises, especially if they're good ones.
Exactly. Yes.
It's the way you start looking at it and thinking differently, and then what you're speaking and how you're feeling. It's all connected.
Yeah, my wife constantly calls me out for how I speak to the universe. Like, she'll actually say, "Don't put that out there. Don't put that out to the universe." When I say something, she's like, "Say it like this, and it will manifest for you." So it's. I really wish she was able to join us because she does interviews with me every once in a while. I got to really kind of annoy her into it, and then she does it, and she's way better than me because she was actually a forensic interviewer for like a year and a half. She's really good. But so my last question for you before I let you go: what is next for you? What is in the future? What are some projects that you're working on in the next 6 months?
I've got some affirmation cards, oracle cards like that I'm creating, a mug and a tumbler that's inspirational and motivational, because it's just something that I'm not going to spill the beans yet,
Okay.
but it's powerful and encouragement of these two mugs and tumblers. And I'm writing a book.
Really? That's awesome.
The misconceptions of who we are, how I changed my mind, it changed my life.
Oh, see, now you're going to tell me that. Now I'm going to have to ask you to come back on when it comes out.
Oh, definitely. I will before I, launch it.
Yeah, please email us. We love talking to people about books. For me, it's because like I said, I love stories. I love hearing about people's lives, and I love hearing about the world. And my wife loves books, so she would actually might be a little bit. Oh yeah, who knew?
Okay, so I'm going to give your audience a little teaser.
Okay.
I have an author from Conversations with God joining me. I'm interviewing him next week, but I do not know when I'm going to air it.
Exactly.
Because I record everything and then air it. I have everything lining up, but I will definitely keep tabs and let you know when it airs.
That would be fantastic.
The author, Neil Donald Walsh from Conversations with God. He just launched a new book, The God Solution.
I have heard of it.
We're going to be talking about that on the show. And
Oh,
boy,
that's
I got
awesome.
some questions between the Conversations with God, and I'll focus more on his book and where it was inspired, why, and whatnot. And then ask him some questions of my perspective on the God and the love thing.
I love that. So we're definitely going to tune in because now I'm intrigued. You hooked me and I'm the one supposed to be interviewing you. So it's like a reverse interview. You just inceptioned me. But for our listeners, how can they hear your podcast?
You could go on iHeart, Spotify. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Stitcher, all of the podcast platforms. Or you could just go to my YouTube channel, Wake Up with KC. I'm hoping in 6 months that I'll have my own channel.
I love it. That's awesome. And you can also go to your website, wakeupwithkc.com too. I believe
Yes.
all your episodes are up there.
Yes, it will lead you. There's a 4 recent ones, but you can go and to iTunes and all them to find the other ones. I just put that website together. It's still in the works.
Oh, yeah, I have Squarespace as well for our website, so I get the constant growth of that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I had some help, but I try to do things on my own and learn too.
Right.
And she was impressed, like, oh my gosh, I went to go check it out and see what more I had to do, but you made my job a lot easier. And I'm like, oh, I was just trying to figure things out, and I'm still confused on some things. Can you help me?
That's awesome. Well, that's going to actually wrap us up for tonight. Kimberly, thank you so much for joining us. It was
an honor and a pleasure being here and having this experience with you. Thank you.
We are definitely going to be reaching out to you again soon because same as you, we record all of our episodes and then we release them. And I would love to have you back on, especially once your book is either almost done or just getting released. It would be a real honor for me.
Awesome. I would be more than happy to and honored.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. You have a good rest of your night, okay?
You too.
Bye-bye. Man, she was really cool. Like, you never know. I make it a very important point that I don't try and have too many conversations with the people that we're going to interview. I basically just email and coordinate, and obviously Ronnie from the other shows and I might as well start calling him producer Ronnie because he does so much work behind the scenes. We really just kind of organize, and the conversation is, here are our dates, here's what we do, and what would you like to talk about? So I never really know what I'm getting myself into when I talk to somebody. Even listening to their shows, I try to listen to a little bit just to get a general vibe. But man, Kimberly was really cool, or KC was really cool. And if you guys are interested, make sure you check out our website, wakeupwithkc.com. It was awesome to look through, and she seems like she has a really great program and a great show that she does, and we can't wait to have her back on. So that's going to wrap us up for tonight. Don't forget, guys, if you're looking for more content from your favorite Misfits, you can go to our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you'll find links to all of our other shows, including MF Uncensored, the Multiverse Fancast, and Cinematic Adventures. You can also find links to our articles, our reviews, our About Us section. You can check out our page on Instagram, which is The Misfit Faction. You can check out producer Melanie's page on Instagram, which is Bibliophiles Assemble. And you can find us on YouTube, The Misfit Faction Media Network, or you can find us on Facebook, MF Uncensored, Multiverse Fancast, and Cinematic Adventures. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. As always, I'm Paul, and we'll see you guys next time.